From Renault Formula One, and Christian Konzen, the director of motorsports, is here. Now watch the slow-mo replay. It's right as he puts his foot on the brakes. You'll see the car begin to twitch. That's when the rear suspension breaks. He's in a straight line. There it is right there. See that little twitch? The car begins to twitch. He's on the brakes. The left rear suspension is broken. That's why that right front begins to lock up, because it's lightweight. Jan Beekes?
Well, we've talked about the Reynard chassis being very strong, but according to Adrian Reynard, he says with the new cars this year and with the new tires, that they now have 15% more grip than they expected to have this year. Therefore, that sometimes takes its toll on those suspension pieces.
Well, it looks like that overheating has finally taken its toll on Emerson Fittipaldi as he's pulled off the edge of the course. And some of the officials are there ready to give him help. So Roger Penske is one car less in this race. Did you notice that when Villeneuve had that problem, that the teammates Christian Fittipaldi and Robbie Gordon were side by side right behind him? And boy, they really went for a spread to try and get around him in that corner.
I mentioned Bernard Gudot earlier. I didn't want to gloss over it. There obviously is serious Renault are obviously taking a serious look at IndyCar racing for them to send Gudot and Konzen, director of motorsports, over here this weekend to see exactly what is going on.
So not just here as a race fan and spectator, some serious consideration. Now 73 laps complete. Al Unser Jr. is the leader.
This is Michael Andretti's IndyCar. You can't get his engine, you can't get his tires, but you can get his motor oil. Texaco Havoline Formula 3. It's formulated to control volatility and fight oil vaporization. It provides complete protection, and it's the exact same Havoline you can buy right off the shelf, which, by the way, is a heck of a lot easier.
Add more life to your car. Take it to the star.
Splitfire won a United States patent. It's clearly different, but is it really better? Some of the toughest judges in the nation conducted trials and published their verdicts. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. A 4.8% gain in mileage. Quicker in the quarter mile. There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage guaranteed. You'll get it all for your money back.
In NASCAR, you're either in the car or out of the car. Got it? One or the other. On July 1st, we're going to give you a choice. On ESPN, you can see everything you want. On ESPN2, you might just see too much.
Right here in front of you, big crash now, right down there, bang, go.
In the car or out. The Pepsi 400, live from Daytona on ESPN and ESPN2, July 1st at 11 a.m.
Back at Portland, Al Unser Jr. still the leader. Paul Tracy in second place. Right now in third place is Christian Fittipaldi. And then this battle, Gil de Ferran and Michael Andretti battle for fourth. Let's go to Gary Gerould.
And Emerson Fittipaldi, you were fighting overheating problems. Did that prove to be the final difficulty, Emerson?
Well, from the beginning, you know, the engine was losing power, and we found there was a water leak on the engine. I had to come in to put water, but was working on very high temperature. And I think the engine is gone now.
How tough was it out here today in this heat, aside from the problem you had relating to track conditions and the rest of the field? What's the car behind you, Emerson?
Not so bad, but I think the heat on the engine was my problem today.
All right.
It's okay.
Thank you.
So Emerson Fittipaldi, who has had some success here, walks away. Look at de Ferran as Michael Andretti closes in, and de Ferran gets caught up behind Scott Pruitt. That also gives Jimmy Vasser an opportunity to close in. So now it's a three-way fight, and Michael tries a move.
Oh, it's a great fight. 4th, 5th, and 6th. De Ferran trying to hold them off. He's in traffic. Scott Pruitt running a bit slower than he needs to, than he'd like to. Infield, very difficult to pass. De Ferran knows that Michael will stick his nose in anywhere he gives him just half an opportunity. De Ferran has had 5 DNFs in 8 races, 4 of them due to contact, and one, of course, the opening race at Miami due to gearbox failure when he had a chance to win that race. Look at this, right up behind him, over the curb.
You know, it's interesting with Michael. Just before the start, I was talking to him, and he said, look at de Ferran locked the right front up. I was talking to Michael, and Michael said, you know, maybe we just collect points today, but that can never totally be true for Michael. He is such an aggressive racer.
Watch this here. Oh, look at this. Oh.
comes sweeping way down the inside. DeFerrin gets in trouble on the brake. So does Michael. And that lets Jimmy Vasser come around DeFerrin, and maybe he's going to get Michael before this thing is over.
Drag race to the infield, and Michael wins it.
Scott Pruitt, the factor that started that one, running a little slower into the corner. Now DeFerrin with Rahal all over the back end. Rahal was able to come up. DeFerrin fell back into 6th place, and Rahal is right there ready to attack.
That almost verged on being a block of Michael, which is against the rules of IndyCar racing. You can change your line to drive defensively. That's what DeFerrin is about to do here when he sees Michael make the move. He goes with him, he blocks him, but then he changes his line. Wally Dolomic won't like that. And watch what happens here. They both almost missed the turn-in point. Watch Vasser. Watch Vasser. Defending your position is different from blocking. And when you change your line, it can be considered as blocking. And in the drag race here, when Michael just got a nip from Jimmy Vasser, and Michael wins that drag race to the infield.
So Michael and his former team owner probably going to have a conversation. He's now managed to put the Kmart Lola mark on both of Chip Ganassi's cars. I got a feeling Chip isn't going to like it. Let's take a look at it from Michael's onboard camera.
Watch DeFerrin make the move. Michael was in neutral. That was a case of he was braking so hard he didn't have time to down change to the gear he wanted. He went through in neutral. Then he realized he was in a gear that was way too high for the drag race. That's where you see him fish for gears, and then he got the blast of acceleration.
Oh, good stuff, Derek. We were talking about this yesterday when we were watching Michael Andretti on our coverage of qualifying. And Rahal tries to get inside DeFerrin, but I'm not so sure he can hold it. DeFerrin keeps the corner for the moment. Now Rahal's got him.
Oh, you have to hold your breath, even when we're this far away, when you see two cars die for that apex on that slow left-hander. And thankfully, they each knew they were there, and Rahal manages to squeeze past Gilles DeFerrin, who has gone from 4th all the way back to 7th.
We were talking about Michael and his onboard camera view. Whenever he gets under a heavy braking situation, you can see him just kind of sink down in the cockpit. Part of that's G-loading, but you also wonder whether or not he's reaching out to touch the brake with his toes. Now watch as he comes way down in the cockpit.
And it's so clear. Look at that. It is so clear. We watched it during practice and qualifying.
Every corner, he goes 3 sponsors down.
Vasser was side by side. He goes 3 sponsors down. He does indeed, down the staircase.
I wonder if that means that if you're a lower sponsor on his helmet, you don't have to pay quite as much because your exposure isn't as long.
Johansson and Bozell, we see them in the shot there. Johansson running 8th, Bozell 9th, Big Mo is 10th, so this is a fight here for the bat on the racetrack also. Fernandez is in there. Although he's not in the battle, he is a lap down in 12th.
DeFerrin lights up those tires again under braking. Hunter Jr. leads it by only 8 seconds, though. Paul Tracy is 2nd. Christian Fittipaldi is 3rd. They run separated on the race course, not in contact with anybody. The battle is here with DeFerrin, Johansson, Bozell, and Gugelmin.
Tony Bettenhausen's team, a new team manager, Martin Dixon, who was with Stefan Johansson at the Onyx Formula 1 team.
We mentioned Mauricio Gugelmin running in 10th, DeFerrin in 7th. Jan Bikus, you've been tracking them both.
That's right. Those are 2 drivers that we saw further up in the order, now sliding back. First of all, Mauricio Gugelmin. He feels as though the rear shock absorber, something is happening there in the heat. Those rear shock absorbers seem to be going away. We checked with Jim Hall as far as Gilles DeFerrin goes. He says, no, we don't have a problem. It's just that we're slipping back right now, but they're not sure what might be up with that car.
And did you see DeFerrin there? Because DeFerrin reached up and was waving at Pruitt to say, look, I'm back here. Can you get over to the left? Because I'm right in the middle of this battle with Johansson right behind me. Well, Al Unser Jr. has now led the most laps in the race. It's the 3rd time this year that he's scored the point for the most laps led. And if they finish the way they are right now, Al Unser Jr. will move to the points lead for the PPG Cup.
You have to see it to believe it. Automania, Antelope Valley's home of automobilia. What's automobilia? Everything and anything to do with cars. Remember Hot Wheels? Automania's got them. Plus posters, die-cast, T-shirts and hats, NASCAR, Indy, Formula One, everything for racing fans, plus plenty for cruisers. All the cool stuff they love. Test your skill on Automania's computerized slot car track. Open Monday through Saturday. If you're crazy about cars and racing, then you'll be in the winner's circle at Automania. 50th Street West and M and Quartz Hill. Automania.
If you love the weekly added golf coverage in your Sports Illustrated, you'll get 23 more issues, 27 in all, for only $1.47 an issue. Or cancel and keep the 4 issues free.
You can't lose. If you like golf, you've got to try Golf Plus.
Call right now, and we'll also send you 3 SI logo golf balls just for trying Golf Plus.
I can try Golf Plus for free and get 3 free golf balls? Let's go golfing.
There's nothing in the world like Sports Illustrated's Golf Plus edition. Get into it.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's an honor to walk down the fairway with these legends. And a lot of people would give the right arm if they could be out there that close to these great people. And to me, that's a high on life. I love it out here.
Back in a part of the Portland Rose Festival, the Budweiser G.I. Joe's 200, as we watch the leader with 8.3 seconds lead over second place Paul Tracy. Al Unser Jr., he's led the most laps. If he stays where he is, he'll pick up the points lead in the fight for the PPG Cup. But it's not much of a lead. In fact, any one of 6 drivers could move past it at any time. And there is the move by Johansson.
And that was a scramble past Scott Pruitt to put him between himself and Bozell. It wasn't for position, but Johansson had difficulty passing Scott Pruitt.
It doesn't look like it's going to last long either. Bozell is going to be right back at Pruitt. And Christian Fittipaldi running third is off the course. Oh, no. He had such a good run going.
What a great afternoon Christian was having. He's been fast here all weekend, never been to this racetrack before, and it looks simply as if he wants a toe, so that may have just been a simple mistake that put him off the road on the first of the infield left-handers.
Looking over the car, no evidence of contact. He wants him to get him back going again, frustrated with the long wait that he has. Michael Andretti moves into third place. Jimmy Vasser will come into fourth.
Had a lot of misfiring on Friday on Christian's car, but now he makes things easier for Paul Tracy because there's no pressure from third place now on Paul Tracy.
Paul Tracy's sole sight now is in front of him. The leader of the race and his former teammate, Al Unser Jr. Hiro Matsushita just ahead, moves to the inside. Tracy comes past. There's the leader of the race, Al Unser Jr., the #1 car of the defending PPG Cup champion. Now take a look up at the end of the course, looking for second place. There we go. That's the interval that Paul Tracy has to make up.
That is over 8 seconds, which, unless he gets a yellow flag, in fact, it's over 10 seconds now as he crosses the start-finish line and goes through the timing beams. This car has benefited from going back to last year's braking system on the front of these cars. They did it for Detroit. It was much better. Remember all the trouble Paul Tracy had in Miami in the opening race when he crashed, I think, about 4 or 5 times and said the brakes wouldn't work properly? Well, in fact, as the races wore on, the twin caliper front braking system that Lee Lolas had, that they were designed with, would wear out so much that it would lock the rear brakes. That's why Michael crashed in Australia. They're much happier now under braking with the old system fitted back to these Lolas.
Back on board with Paul Tracy, as you can see, he closed for a bit, and then when he got into traffic, he lost out, but now he's got a clear shot. On the last lap, Paul Tracy was 4 miles an hour slower on the lap than Unser Jr. Unser Jr. turned it at 112, and Tracy was down at 108, but he picked the speed up to 111.7 on this last lap. So Paul Tracy is back trying to close in again, 10.9 seconds behind. We watch DeFerrin, currently in 8th place.